Welcome to Building the Best You, a destination for you to reimagine what is possible in your life and then create it. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Jeanne Collins, and today we are doing something a little bit different, and I am so excited for this, guys. So we have Luna Battalia on the show, and so many of you who listen or watch this show are entrepreneurs. And so Luna is going to bring us something really special, which is about building the best you as it relates to your brand. Oh my goodness, we all as entrepreneurs need her help. So Luna, thank you so much for joining the show to talk about this really important topic for us entrepreneurs.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. It's lovely to connect with you and your audience.
Absolutely. And I'm going to put everything in the show notes, and everybody, you have to go out to her website, because you go out to her website and we're going to talk about this because you talk about a brand having a living presence. And I'm an energy person, and your website like exudes energy. It is so cool. And you did something that I know a lot of people recommend. Like, I just went to the about section because you texted me, and you have a New York City like beginning area code that I know, that I recognize. And I was like, I wonder where she lives. And I went to your website, I went to the about, and you like tea. I like tea. You love interior design. I like interior design. I was like, look at all these cool things I learned about you just from your website. So, nice. Oh my goodness, you can teach everybody so much. And that's just like the basic stuff. All right. So before we dig into your business, your firm, how you help people, all the many offerings that you have, I would love if you would share a little bit about your career journey first.
Oh my gosh, my career journey. I studied apparel design and was a New York City fashion designer for many years and loved it and then hated it. And I had a spiritual awakening, and it kind of pivoted me out of at least the corporate industry aspect of being in fashion, and really shifted things for me. And I started studying healing arts and going on a journey and traveling, like my own little eat, pray, love journey over a few years. Lots of travel, lots of finding myself, lots of wellness, learning a whole new way of being. And then as I was doing that, I just happened to magnetize people who were like, what happened to you? How did you change? And it just, I kind of was always like that. Even when I was younger and I would go to the bar with my friends, I would end up sitting there talking to the 70-year-old man who was there, who had like a thing with his wife and like the therapist. And so I got into counseling. I worked at a clinical addiction care non-12-step center in Malibu and did that for 8 years. And I loved it. And I was the life purpose counselor and spiritual counselor. And I did groups and individual and family. And I just loved it so much. And people would work with me when they left, and other people knew that I was doing this counseling and like life purpose, and the coaching just developed. I ended up going back to school, getting a master's degree in spiritual psychology, and my classmates became my clients. So we do these practices in class, and they'd be like, do you do this? Do you have packages? Do you coach? And I'm like, I don't even know what packages are. And I was like, yes, I do. And it just kind of, a coaching practice developed from there. And it was really something that I was going to the school for my own personal healing and journey and skill set development, and it birthed a whole new career. And in doing that, building my own brand online, I had design skills from being a designer, from marketing. And so they just translated so naturally. And people were always like, oh, who does your website? Who does your graphics? Who does this? Who does that? And I was like, oh, I do. Doesn't everybody do that themselves? And they're like, no, I need a lot of help. And so I kind of had this coaching practice and then side hustle branding, and I didn't publicly share it at all. And then COVID happened and they flip-flopped, and I was like, this is the thing people are investing in right now. And it's been such a game changer for me. I had a lot of compassion fatigue from working in addiction care in prisons and private practice. And it was just the perfect moment to just be like, what colors do you like? Do you like this blue or this blue? And to not know about like your childhood trauma with your dad, and just be able to hold space in a different way for really people's work. And I think the roots in addiction care of doing life purpose counseling really showed me that everyone has a purpose, whether or not it's your career or your income stream, the way that you make money. Everyone has a purpose. And when we're not living it, it creates a lot of discomfort and kind of like that little like string on your sweater that catches on
Yeah.
things. It'll just keep catching and trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
And so now I get to help amazing women who have beautiful visions, big visions that they want to bring into the world, to do that with skills and conviction and clarity, and to really feel confident in the online marketing presence of what they're doing because they're already good at doing the thing. That's
Right.
not where they
Yes.
need help necessarily. And
Yes.
so it's been such a beautiful gift to be able to have my hands in all the little legacies that are being left around the world.
Which is beautiful because most entrepreneurs, marketing is not their jam. Let's be honest. Like very few entrepreneurs are really good at marketing.
If we
And
just think of it as sharing, it's quite easy because
I
we
know.
love to share about what we're excited about.
We do, but I think we judge ourselves so much about, am I saying enough? Am I not saying enough? Am I following this template? Is it supposed to look like this? I can't have a website because I don't have enough to say, or it's not pretty enough. I don't have pictures or whatever. The excuses are vast, right? So I'm so excited to talk to you because you definitely offer practical resources. And I'm going to just say here right now, everybody, you have to stay until later because Luna has a course and she's going to offer a discount code to the people that are listening. So we're going to get to that later, but you definitely want to stick around. Okay, there's so much to talk about here. All right, let's just start with something really basic, which is sort of, I feel like your philosophy that building a brand is a living presence, and that is on your website. Can you talk to us about what you mean by that?
I believe that anything that we create, whether it's a business, a brand, a book, an art piece, a child, that we're birthing something to existence that has a life of its own. And it's coming through us, but it's not us. It's this thing that we've created. And a child is such a perfect example because they're so much like us, literally DNA, but they might want to be a ballerina or a painter or whatever and have a totally different personality. And our job is to steward them to meet their highest potential. And I think a book is similar, an art piece, a business, you're creating it. And the job isn't to make it you, even though I'm primarily in the world of personal branding, which is so much about the individual, it feels like. I really see it as a stewardship. You're stewarding a vision, you're stewarding a legacy. The role is service. And I find that when we're really in service, that we, in service to the vision, in service to the business, in service to the impact that it's here to make and helping it meet its potential, our only job is to create the environment for which it can thrive.
Yeah.
And when that's the focus, we kind of stay on that and we don't get distracted by all of those thoughts that you were sharing before. Should it sound like her voice? Should I do it this way?
Right.
And it's like, no, I'm actually just in service to it. And when it is a living being, if I was to think about a child and how a child could thrive, and I'm not, preface, I'm not a parent, I would be asking the kid questions. How can I create the environment for which it can thrive? I want to get curious and listen and understand its needs. So I relate to a business and a brand in the same way, where my job is to get curious enough to listen to it, to hear what it needs, and then provide that thing. And if
Right.
I'm overriding it, if I'm not listening, if I'm not creating space to have an intimate relationship with the thing that I'm creating, I can't attune to its needs and serve it well. And
Sure.
there's so many distractions that help us to stay in the surface level and avoid the deeper relationship that we can have with each other, with our businesses. And so that's my philosophy just on creativity, and businesses don't fall outside of that.
Right. Yeah. Which is interesting because you also talk about the importance of having an emotional environment. How in the world do we create an emotional environment online? Which is a big question, I know,
Totally.
but a big one.
I think it's really about storytelling. As
Mm.
old as time, people have sat around fires and shared stories, and those are stories that have created mythos and movies and structure and frameworks that we still live by today. One of the oldest written mythos is called Inanna's Journey. It's a Sumerian text. They were like the oldest culture to just write down everything. And it's literally Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. It's the same thing.
Yep.
But it's a female-centric heroine's journey. And it's Lord of the Rings. It's all the movies, all the things that we go through. And so that framework is literally as old as time. It's how we teach lessons to next generations. It's how we understand and learn things ourselves. and I can give you a bunch of information, and that's going to put you in your head. Or I can tell you a story with people who had experiences, and those are emotions that we share. And even though you and I haven't had the same life and experiences, we've had experiences that have both elicited sadness or grief or joy or ecstasy or gratitude. And so we share this common language beyond nations and tongues and people speaking different language, including marketing language.
Right.
And it's just about this client I had, this journey that you went on, this experience that this historical figure had that very much reflects the story that you want to tell and evokes the emotions that you want to tell. And I think so much of it is getting out of our heads about like, oh, now I have to learn the hero's journey storytelling framework and it's 17 parts. And I don't want to put my Instagram post into 17 parts. And it's just about the connection. Like you're going to know how to tell the story because you need to know your audience that you're telling it to.
Mm-hmm.
So getting to know them. Having conversations, like whether that's your clients or people in a DM or polling your audience or, doing some kind of questionnaire that you hand out and getting feedback, it's getting to know them because when you're using language and understand their needs, their desires, there's always what they think they need and there's what you know they need. And sometimes those are two different things. And you actually have to be able to speak to the first one, even if you know that the journey is going to lead them somewhere different.
Sure.
And so I think so much of what we're talking about is human connection. And I love your brand because this like inner wellness, this has to be online to be able to do all these marketing things effectively. Two people can have the same strategy, but who they are when they implement it is really going, and their mindset and their way of relating to themselves and their creations is really going to shape the results that those two different people get.
Yeah.
And so I like to think of entrepreneurship as soul work. Because it's going to bring up all these things personally that you got to get over in order to do your job well. And so for me, it's just connection, intimacy, curiosity, listening, all those same human skills that give us the juiciness of life translate really well into business and branding. And I think they've really been separated. So it's kind of like just get out of your head and tell a story about a win that you had. And people are really going to value being a part, like being let into that window of your life.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it also, though, requires people, the reality is this day and age, it requires people to be vulnerable about who they are and recognizing, and I would love your opinion on this. So many entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, have a business and they are like, but I'm me and my business is here. And I think so much of the work that you do and where I've seen this be successful for other people is you are your brand. There is no, like, you are your brand. You created your brand and your business with a passion for something for some reason, especially for solopreneurs. So trying to marry the bridge between you and your brand and recognizing that you are one and the same, and that in this day and age of social media, you really can't hide. And the more you are you, the better it is. And I'm curious if you see that with your clients or if you're seeing another formula that is also successful.
Well, I have a both and approach. So I love what you said. And when we talked earlier about brand as a living being, it is this separate thing that we're creating, especially as a personal brand. I think what you're saying is so true. We need to feel you. We need to feel the founder. We need to hear your stories. We need to hear your likes. And sometimes the way that I talk to a friend over tea or out to dinner is different than the way I talk to my partner, is different than the way I talk to my dog, is different than the way that I talk to my Instagram audience.
Sure.
And they're different aspects of myself. And I think when we create a personal brand, it's a very curated, like not curated in the sense that it's contrived, but curated in the sense that like, I'm not sharing every little detail about my life with you.
Right.
What's related to the brand. And I think that I grew up in an era where I'm that elder millennial where we didn't have cell phones in high school and stuff. And then Facebook happened in college and I didn't get on board until much later. And so I have the experience of both and oversharing in my 20s and then being like, actually what wants to be shared on the internet is really very specific to the brand and not actually to me, but you need to get to know me because you're hiring me.
Right.
So there has to be this balance of, okay, I'm I'm Luna as the leadership mentor, founder of this, full service brand studio. But there's so much of me that can like weave in, but am I weaving it in a way that relates back to the brand's message? Am I weaving it in? I'm not going to tell a personal story for the sake of just airing my dirty laundry out on the internet. It has to be in service to what is the core message that this brand is sharing, and how do I relate it back to that? And if that thread of relating it back is missing, and it's something my audience can't relate with that's about the work that I'm offering, it's really not something I personally need to share. I've got a lot of friends and people in community and therapists and people to talk to that I can share with. Like the lack of that human connection for me isn't the way that I want to share there. And yet I can still be vulnerable. I can still share personal stories. They just have to be strategically a direct connection back to what is the brand's core message. Because I, Luna, as an individual, I'm here to serve the brand.
Right.
I'm not, and like by default, the brand serves me in return. It brings me people, it brings me opportunities, it brings me lots of money, which I love.
Yes, of course.
But we're serving each other. And so I think that separation allows me to get out of perfectionism and being seen and more be like, oh, my role is the spokesperson and steward of this brand and this vision and not the brand itself. And yet, my personal self is such a huge part of it. It's a little bit of a fine line.
Yeah, but there's a nuance there. Yeah, there's a nuance there. And as you're talking, it brings me to something that I saw you also talked about, where it's like you're not trying to just create content. You're trying to create, I want to say you said something like trying to create a world or trying to create an environment.
An experience.
Yeah. So when you look at it through that lens, it's like, sharing what you had for breakfast, is that content for content's sake?
If I'm a nutritionist, it's great.
If you're a nutritionist, it's super important. Right.
Not important for my brand at all.
Right. Finding what that thing is that is aligned with your brand. But I'm just sitting here thinking like, oh, wow, that's such an interesting filter, even for me personally, to look at my brand through as I'm trying to think about what do I want to share? What do I want to communicate? What do I want to educate on? Looking at it through the filter of the brand is a very interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of your audience probably has social media for personal reasons. And that's beautiful. Share whatever you want. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on social media for personal reasons.
Right, sure.
I'm there for business reasons. And for anyone who's listening who has some kind of contribution that they want to make into the world, whether that's shifting something in your local community and voting for a certain prop in, nationally or in your local community, you might want to make that contribution by using this amazing platform to reach more ears and people, whether it's your work or just something you're passionate about. And so for those people, it's like, okay, what's the message that I'm like, what's the core of it? And do I need to talk about 5 different things, or is there one thing that I can just really relate everything back to? Because I think for a brand, the simplifying that one core thing that you stand for is really the best way that it's repeatable, but you're saying it in 20 different ways all the time so that people are going, oh, and it just always comes back to the core thing that you believe in, that you offer, that you're trying to shift perspective. You're trying to help the world see something one way and transform it into another way that's going to hopefully have a better outcome.
Yeah. Messaging. Yeah. Which is hard. I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with like, what is their message? Just like, what is your brand statement, or what is your purpose, or what value are you bringing, or what problem are you solving? I know for myself as an entrepreneur, I'm like, well, but there are like 10 of those.
Yeah.
And I bet a lot of people come to you and they're like, yeah, but I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that. And entrepreneurs like us, it's really hard to narrow down like, what is our message and what does our brand really stand for in a really succinct way? That's tough.
It is. It can be. And I think women are like, we're ruled by the moon and the watery and changing and multi-passionate, and like, I have an idea today and then I have a different idea tomorrow. and that's like some of the beauty of being a woman. And not to say that men aren't multi-passionate as well, but I think they have a different kind of energy to focus on things. And I'm like, you can see I've got like jewelry making supplies back here because I also goldsmith on the side, like just for my own personal pleasure, just like little things. So it's like, okay, am I I can have lots of passions as an individual, but as a brand, what is the mission? What's the mission? And I might have different offers that serve that same mission, but the core emotional thread and the mission, the motivation, all of these things are messaging. The foundations of messaging are kind of like what motivates you, the mission, the positioning, these kinds of statements. The second part of messaging is personality, tone, archetypes, expression, unique point of view. The third is all understanding your audience demographically and psychographically, desires, what keeps them up at night, what's underneath the longing underneath what they're able to articulate, what's that deeper thing underneath that they desire. And then the fourth part is the storytelling of how you weave them together. So I think when we take that multi-passionate, if you're not running a business, be multi-passionate. If you're running a business, what's the business about? What's the one thing? I like to think of a TED Talk because we've all watched these, which is such great messaging frameworks. They go in and they say, the majority of people think this way, and I'm here to spend 20 minutes to help you think this way. What if you were going into a TED Talk, what's that one core way of thinking or perspective that you want your work to be able to shift? And what is the new perspective? So to me, it should be pretty simple. Like when you're creating an offer, writing a book, building a business, I have this thing called the Post-it exercise. And I put 10 Post-its on the wall and I write 10 different things of what I want people to take away. And then I narrow it down to 5, then I narrow it down to 3. And is there a way to, once I have 3, is there a way to like have one statement that articulates all 3 of these things? And to me, it's just like a way of, and sometimes you'll need to rewrite them by taking things out.
Yeah.
And so I love that when I'm writing a book, I can get so tangential and be like, oh, and then this entire other idea that's actually another book could come through. And it's like,
of course.
Oh, remember, what are the Post-its? What's the one thing you're writing about?
What's the one thing we're focusing on right now? I love it. You're like, the way you're speaking, I'm like, oh, you're so clearly an entrepreneur. I can totally relate to all of this, as I know so many of my listeners can. Okay, so you've got a bunch of different trademarked things, and I want to talk about what they are and how you use them in your business to help your clients. So, Animist branding, what does that mean?
Yeah, animist branding. Animism is this idea. It's ancient. It's through like every thread of culture in every place. There's a core idea that everything is living, including this mouse,
right? Sure.
This phone, this pen.
Everything is energy.
Things that are inanimate objects are considered having life. They're made up of all the elements, etc., and have atoms and electrons just like us. And the idea is that they have a soul. And so to be able to speak to the soul of something that can seem inanimate. So Marie Kondo is like a great framework for this. Hold this item of clothing and does it bring you joy? And if it doesn't, and it's like a very similar approach to an inanimate object like papers and documents and books and clothes in your house, to be able to tune into them relationally, to see how they feel and then make decisions based on how they feel to move forward. So I think that your brand is very similar. When you tune into it, does it feel like the struggle bus? Okay, great. That's really valuable feedback. And if you don't stop and tune in, that thing just exists in your house for decades, or in that closet that always gets, you throw all the crap in.
Yes.
And you just kind of keep going with life as if it's not there or as if you don't have to deal with it. And it's only by tuning in and actually asking the question, what's working, what's not, what feels good, what doesn't, how like collecting data and feedback, that we can actually make different choices. So to me, animism is having the relationship, checking in. Like a healthy relationship is going to thrive when we're making time to, if you're my best friend and we don't have any check-ins and I like all your Instagram posts and, we meet for girls' night once a month, but I don't really have a deep check-in with you. Like, are we really doing what we're here to do?
Are we really friends?
Can I really call you my bestie? So I think of your business as a similar thing. And so taking the time to check in, and I think a lot of people are filling their entrepreneurial time with a problem solution orientation.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of know that they want different results, but they're just searching externally for solutions from this Instagram guru, reading this
Yeah.
LinkedIn person's account, listening to this podcast. And they're going outside and they're judging their business as a problem that needs to be fixed. And if you were in a relationship, if you and I were besties, and I'm constantly judging you as a problem that needs to be fixed and relating to you that way, it's not going to feel good. You're not going to want to serve me in return. You're not going to want to show up and like make money together. You're just not, it doesn't feel good. So if you're relating to your business as this problem that needs to be solved and not relating to it as something that can be connected to and listened to and heard and tuned into the soul of and speak back to you, I think that it usually leads to repercussions that reflect that approach.
Sure.
And really the other thing is going for the external answers instead of like, if I have a problem with my partner and I'm on the phone with you and I'm talking all about the problems that we have and I'm not dealing with them actually with him in the relationship, it's probably not going to get solved.
Yeah.
So I think your business is the same way. If the problems exist here between you and the way that you're relating with the business, the solutions probably also lie there by like taking time. And so I think a lot of people fill their time with searching for external answers and strategies and approaches when that person literally knows nothing about your business.
Yeah. It's very possible.
So I think that's a big shift.
Yeah. We're all looking, not only in business, but in life, we're looking for the fix. Everybody is looking for the fix. And that's the society that we are living in right now. So, and in some ways, I am facilitating that because I'm here to offer people a potential fix.
Totally, same.
Right? Like I'm serving up a fix. Like I'm serving up a fix to your personal brand right here, right now with Luna on the show.
Everyone has a problem and needs solutions. And of course, we need each other to help us. But I think it's the orientation to feel like if I'm in my head, I'm all about personal growth and development.
Yeah.
But if I'm trying to grow personally because I see everything as a problem within myself, that orientation is only going to lead me to have more problems.
Yes. Right. Correct. Yeah. It's what's the relationship that you have with your brand?
Yeah. I think we all need to serve each other with solutions. Like, absolutely.
Yes, we do. Right. But you make a really great point about looking inward, and it's trying to really have a relationship with your brand and look inward and look and see like what feels aligned, what doesn't feel aligned. And I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, that also comes up a lot when you think about expansions or new product launches, or am I going to go write a book, or am I going to become a speaker, or am I going to expand my office and go to the second floor, or am I going to hire more people? All those pivots that we face as entrepreneurs, a lot of times that does really require a lot of inner reflecting in terms of what energetically feels like the most purpose driven and the most aligned to who we are and what we're trying to serve and what our business is trying to be.
Yeah, I think it's like getting out of should mindset. Like, oh, I should do this. Or like, my kid should go to a good college. And it's like, that might not be what's right for that kid.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
if we're approaching our business with like, oh, we should scale and hire more people. It's like, is that really where you're at? Is that what the business needs? It's like, it's going to be different for each person.
For every person. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about one other trademark thing you have: attraction brand strategies. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's an approach to marketing. In the beginning, you were saying, oh, marketing can be so hard for entrepreneurs because they're good at what they do, but they don't necessarily know how to be in this world. And I was like, it's as simple as just sharing.
Yeah.
And when we're on the plane next to someone and they bring up the thing that we're most excited about, we're so excited to share. And it doesn't feel like we're pitching or marketing or selling anything. We're just excited to share because it's the thing that we're stoked about in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think attraction brand is really that energy of this confident, excited output that's emanating I know that what I offer is really valuable. I don't need to convince you of it. I'm standing with a presence that is so confident in that. My marketing reflects that. My words reflect that. My branding reflects that. Everything is set up in my brand to call people in and attract them not be marketing pitching like externally,
Yeah,
like I need new
right.
clients, going out, trying to find, get, but more just like, here I am. I know I'm the shit. And like, if you want to come hang out over here, it's going to be a blast. Like, do you want to come?
Right.
And there's going to be people who are like, I don't like that. And it's like, okay, bye, see ya. And there's going
Right.
to be people who are like, oh my God, this woman is my jam. Like, I love
Yes.
her and the way she's being. And when we're trying to market and sell, it's like gives people the ick.
Yeah.
And so the attraction branding is really standing in the confidence of what you are, the value of what you offer. And there is nothing more confronting than a woman who has no problem taking up space.
Right.
It is
Yeah.
the most attractive and confronting thing. And
Yeah,
it's attractive because you've been at a dinner party where someone walks in and she's not trying to be like, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm so flashy, this, I want attention. But you just feel her and everybody is like, everybody
that?
gives her their attention
Yeah.
and she's not asking for it. She's attracting it because of who she is. And I think of brands as the same way, where it's like, I'm trying to get for, and like get new clients, make more money, or like really the messaging and brand presence is emanating this, what I've got is really valuable. And if you want to hang out here, like we can do big things together. Let's go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not trying to convince.
I love that because I come from a sales background and I think anything that's like super salesy is super icky. And it's hard though, because you're in business, we're kind of conditioned that like you kind of have to sell some. And I know a lot of people don't like to sell, but you do have to sell some. So there's also a balance in there. But I love the way you describe it because I do think people are energy, brands are energy. And the reality is people buy from people that they like.
Yes.
And people buy from people that they feel like they can connect with. And the way that you, sounds like you're developing brands, is to develop something that for the right person, it will connect. Then you're not selling because it's really easy.
It is. It's really easy. It makes everything so much easier.
It makes it so much easier. And that's what we all want. We want to serve the right people. And for the wrong people, we want them to just go away. And that's completely fine.
Yeah. I remember in the beginning, I was like getting on coaching, like discovery calls.
Yeah.
Getting on so many when I first started, and like it was like low cost, like so much lower cost, and it was like not the right fit for so many people, and having like a 50%, conversion rate. And now it's like it's practically 100%.
Right.
And it's so easy, and it's 5 times the price, and the right people, because my brand is doing all that work in the front end for me.
Yeah.
So that the right people are being qualified or
finding you. Yeah. So just a personal question for you and your brand. I'd love your stance on advertising, investing in money on advertising. What do you tell your clients to do?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a smart way to do it and a wasteful way to do it. And if you have to know where you're at and how you're scaling. But I think this is, why wouldn't you invest? I'm investing time. Why, it's just another resource to invest, whether it's attention, time, money. We all have different resources to invest in ourselves and what we believe in. And absolutely, I think it's a valuable way to get out there. It's like if you're just focusing on social media or something like that and organic content and writing blogs, you might not get that reach, but you spend $2 a day and can get that in front of so many more eyes and start to get more brand awareness and then nurture those people and convert those people to something that's going to be valuable for them. I think that's, no brainer.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, if she says no, I'm in trouble.
No, I mean, organic content is, I think people like toot their horn.
Organic content is great, but it's so, I just feel as an entrepreneur, it's so time consuming and it's so hard to think that just because I spend all this time writing a blog post, like all of a sudden the people are going to come flooding in Google soon and decide that me, this tiny little brand in Connecticut, is worthy of all these eyeballs. It just doesn't really work.
Yeah. And I would say that like organic content, there's organic content, which is your output, but then there's free marketing. So right now I am tapping into your audience. Right. I didn't have to do anything to be able to speak to these people except you trusting me and choosing to invite me on.
Right.
If you have a magazine and you ask me to write for it, or I ask and you say yes.
Yeah.
Like all of that is like tapping into somebody else's network that they built, being a guest teacher, going on a summit, like all of these things are free marketing that tap into other people who build bigger audiences, networks. And those are also great marketing tools that are they're organic content, but I think of it as like more like free marketing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, that's very, very true. All right. You also have a course. Can we talk about your course? Because I mentioned in the beginning that we're going to put a coupon code, and we are. The coupon code, everybody, is JERMAR, JERMAR. We're going to put it in the show notes. So let's talk about your course, because I love people that create courses. I think there's a lot that can be learned from a course. So talk to us about the course.
Yeah, it's called Messenger. It's Master the Art of Being Heard.
So powerful.
Yeah, I think that's what so many people, it's like they have something they want to share and they really just want people to be able to go, oh, that's something I want to listen to. And so the whole course is the messaging that I do, that I've crafted with my clients over the last 15 years, doing this protocol that I've developed. And I do this one-on-one with people in a 4-hour session with a questionnaire, and we go through it and I help them go deeper and find the things. And I basically just took that whole thing and walk you through it in a self-paced program. So you can do it on your own time and not have to hire me one-on-one at a much higher rate. So it's, a really proprietary approach to brand messaging that really allows you to kind of do all the things that we've been talking about, which is like get people moving towards you and you magnetizing them by just saying the things in a certain way and sharing, but being authentic to yourself. And so the whole thing is rooted in that approach to Animist branding, really relating to your brand. And you are the messenger. So I think of the entrepreneur as the messenger who's bringing this message to the people, bringing it voice, breathing life into it with their voice and allowing more people to hear it. And I think if you really believe in something, you want more people to hear it and you want the message to get out there and you care deeply. Yeah. And so this is really helping entrepreneurs and anyone who has a mission. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, but some kind of mission or purpose that you want to get out there more into the world, to be able to articulate it in ways that people are actually going to hear you and want to listen and lean in more, and that it also converts to sales.
Yeah.
So that's Messenger. Yeah. It's 10% off with that code Jeremiah. So I'd love to have your audience tap in.
I love it. Yes, we're going to link it here for everybody, because I think so many people, we just need somewhere to start to get us to think differently and challenge us with ways to look at our businesses, look at our brand a little bit differently. So I thank you for having that and for having that offering as well to the listeners. So I'm going to put all that in the show notes, because I definitely encourage everybody to go to her website, check it out. Okay, so before we run out of time, what is your target? Like, what's your ideal client for your business?
Oh, I have 3 different audiences, but my ideal client is mature woman who is already deeply on purpose, who has been offering her gifts to the world and has bigger dreams and visions that she's really wanting to bring forth and wants to do the personal deep dive work to become the leader who can really steward the vision that she has. And also, it's not just all about the personal work. It's like, let's get shit done. Like, I want someone who wants to like, like, come on, let's, like we can just like go to therapy all day, but like, can we actually get shit done? So it's that intersection of how the more stuff we get done kind of brings up stuff that we need to look at. And the more we look at, the more space we create to welcome more opportunities we have more capacity. So of course we're going to want to share more. So it's the mature woman who's been bringing her gifts to the world, who has bigger visions and really wants to step into a new level of leadership to bring them to life.
I am your target audience. I'm your ideal client. I'm just saying, everybody.
Totally.
We have to be able to laugh at this. I totally am. I'm like, oh, you're talking like everything to me. But so in all seriousness, I totally am like your target person. So I thank you so much for that. But I have a huge question, because you said something in the beginning and I'm so glad you said it. When I asked you about your target audience and your ideal client, you said you have 3 audiences. All right. There are many of us in the entrepreneur space who sell multiple things to slightly different people. How do you help your clients deal with that? Because it might still be messaging. Okay. Can you explain a little? Explain a little.
I'll give you my audience. It's the woman who's like just getting started. I have a vision and I want to do it right. I'm going to hire help, but I've never done this before. That's one. The second is I've been at it a long time and I've matured and I've outgrown my brand. I've outgrown things and I need a new way and I want the next incarnation. That's the second one. The third audience are women getting out of corporate who, 35 to 50, getting out of corporate, who have all this experience and they want to shift it into becoming thought leaders and have a voice and be known for this type of thing that they were serving either somebody else's mission or their unique voice wasn't getting heard because they're in a corporate arena. And so they were shifting. I have a doctor who's becoming a thought leader right now. She's leaving the hospital. So it's like those types of women are like, those are my 3 type of people.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that they're necessarily a different audience because there's some overlap in demographics and the emotional psychographics are the same. So what do all of them want? All of them want to bring their holy work into the world. All of them want to make a contribution. So my messaging speaks to that. And by speaking to their emotions and their desires, I speak to all 3 of them.
Ah, okay.
I don't need to preface the differences between them because I'm speaking to the deeper desire that they all have, which is to bring their holy work contribution into the world effectively and leave a legacy.
Right.
And so at any stage, they're all going to be like, cool, that's my person.
That's me. Yeah. Okay. That's fascinating. But I also would think that a lot of entrepreneurs have a really hard time seeing that thread. And that's why your services come in so handy because a lot of times it's very difficult when you're really close to it to be able
think
to
about
see
emotions.
that messaging thread. Yeah.
What is the shared thing that they all want or feel or long for or have it in challenge? Like what's the thing that weaves them all together?
It gets them all together. Okay. That's so fascinating. All right. Before we run out of time, can we just talk about buyer psychology for a second?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Because I've heard that term before. I saw it on some of your stuff and I was like, okay, let's talk about that because that seems really important because people don't like to be told they're sold to, like selling. But so where does buyer psychology come in to how you help brands?
So there's a lot of approaches to marketing and selling, obviously. And the buyer psychology is, you and I are both consumers. We buy lots of things in the world, I'm sure. And so what is the things that help me make those purchase decisions? What is going on inside of me? Am I like, oh, a deal, I got to jump on it? Like, so that person is, their purchasing decisions are based in price.
Okay.
Somebody else is based in quality. So then the other thing is like, am I making a decision because do I want this because it makes my life a lot easier? Do I feel like this is going to make my life a lot easier? And so understanding your audience's buyer psychology. So you all heard my 3 audiences and understand them a little bit. They don't care about the price. Yeah. They are making decisions based on quality first and then ease.
Right.
I want the best. I want high quality and I'm willing to do some work, but I don't want to like add a lot more. I want it to make my life easier, not more complicated.
Right.
So that's their psychology to making purchasing decisions for something like some of my services.
Right.
I also have products that have been developed that are for the price person. And it's a good way to get people in the door. If you look at a graph of what makes me the most money in my business annually, that's not it. So it's understanding your audience and what is their psychology when making decisions. And then like setting up your sales in a way that's understanding those needs that they have.
Right.
And that your language and your messaging is also speaking to, okay, if it's easy is what they need. Like, is my messaging, is my sales page easy?
Easy.
Is it giving them the experience? Because if I have a complicated sales page, I'm not communicating easy. If I have busy branding, I'm not communicating easy. So the sales experience needs to reflect what people can sense that they're going to experience inside the offer with the products once they buy it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Because if price is not your issue, then you don't need massive flashing things that say everything is 50% off because it doesn't really matter. That's not what's going to make you buy something.
And it actually will repel your ideal audience.
Totally. Right. Because it's like, well, if it's that cheap, then I don't know that I want that. It doesn't. Right. It's not luxury enough. It's such an interesting balance. Oh my God. This has been so fascinating. Okay. Before we run out of time. Have I missed anything? Is there anything that you want to talk about in terms of your brand? Obviously, we're going to link everything so people can follow you on Instagram. They can go to your website. They can understand all your services, all your products, your course, everything about you. Is there anything that I missed?
No, this was so fun. I felt like we really got a lot of ground covered. And yeah, I feel very full.
Good. Thank you. Oh, you have amazing energy. And I
you.
personally love how you connect the person, the wellness, the emotionalness to the business side of marketing. And I think you just have such a beautiful way of describing a term that for many entrepreneurs is almost as bad as accounting. Most entrepreneurs kind of think of marketing like, ooh, ick. But I think you've done such a beautiful job of making it just really emotional. And I love the concept of talking about a story and creating a brand that's living and breathing. So I thank you for your approach. I think it's really special. So thank you for that. All right, one last question. I love to ask my guests if there's a book that they would recommend that has impacted them personally or professionally. So do you have a book that you'd like to recommend?
I have so many books. There's this author, Oriah, Mountain Dreamer, with this wild name back in the day when she was a hippie in her 30s. She wrote this poem. It went viral called The Invitation. Publisher came, asked her to take each verse and make it into a book. It was just a poem. She did.
Wow.
It's such a beautifully it's like short read, easy to read. You can open to any chapter and start there. And it's just, if you're the eat, pray, love, you love that kind of person, it's just so real, so raw, so human, so honest about living a deep, full, rich life full of juiciness and connection, and all the ways in which that's really difficult and we self-sabotage it. And but it's not personal development where she's like, learn this and then learn this.
Yeah.
It's just such beautiful storytelling, and it's called The Invitation. Oriah that's the author, Oriah, and it's called The Invitation. And one of those books where when I would buy it, I would buy 3 and I would give them out.
Ooh, I've never read it. I have to read that. That sounds fascinating. So thank you
Please
so much
email
for
me
that.
after and be like, I hated it. I loved it. Whatever.
No, I will totally let you know. All right, Luna, thank you so much. Your company, by the way, I don't even know that we even mentioned this, Caru Creative. It'll be in the show notes, but Caru Creative, Caru, everybody. Luna, thank you so much for your time. You were just a beautiful soul. I learned so much, and I hope everybody else enjoyed it too. And we will absolutely stay connected. So thank you for being a guest.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Building the Best You. If you are ready to take a deeper dive into transforming your life, check out my Empowerment Fundamentals course on my website, houseofjermar.com. Thank you, and I will see you next week with another inspiring guest.